All right, man, let's get going. We got 3 random records to go through. Steve's here helping us running the audio.
Steve.
Run the video,
Thank you,
keeping
Steve.
everything's moving today. Appreciate him being here. And we're going to look at this first one. Okay. This truly is. This is a great album. And this really was groundbreaking.
This was, in my opinion, when this came out, it was like the surge of like metal to mainstream.
Yeah.
Does that
this
make
was
sense?
it. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
this is when that happened.
Yeah. Come On, Feel the Noise was on here. And I mean, that still gets radio play.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's a huge song. I'm not a big fan of that song.
And that isn't their song either. It was Slade originally wrote that song.
No kidding.
But anyway, that was their. They also had the song Metal Health, which was a huge hit too.
That's a good song. I like.
But you're
that
right.
one.
This is when heavy metal became normal. I mean, you'd start hearing on the radio.
I would say.
Yeah, this was the band that did it.
Because this album sold, I don't know, Steve,
Once again, multi-million. This is going to be in the millions.
Quite right.
I'd be surprised if it was under 5 million. It might have. This might have crossed 10 million. I mean, it
was pretty big.
But I don't know that it was that big. But it would be a couple million at least.
I mean, we know.
For sure.
I mean, for those that know Quiet Riot, this is where Randy Rhoads started.
Randy
before
Rhoads
he played.
I think they had 3 albums with him.
Prior to this was the first one with Carlos
Cavazo. Now, interestingly, as far as I know, there was only one song that made it from the Randy Rhoads days to this album.
Okay.
And it was Slick Black Cadillac.
Which I love.
And
that's a great song.
Yeah, and I think that was on Quiet Riot 2 or 3. And Carlos Cavazo is given credit for the da-na-na-na-na-na little guitar part, but Randy Rhoads is actually the one who came up with that in the original song. And it's a great song.
Yeah. And
so
Rudy Sarzo's on
Rudy Sarzo plays bass on this. Yeah, and he's been all over the place. I mean, he ended up in Whitesnake. And I mean, he's
and his brother
huge.
Plays on some band.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's like.
And
a guitar
Frankie
player.
Banali, the drummer, actually played in Wasp. I think he played with Steppenwolf for a while. Anyway, he actually just passed away.
Yes.
About a year ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Kevin Dubrow died about 14, 15 years ago.
Right. That's the lead singer.
Yeah, he was the singer. He had that guy's voice was
he's a big
huge.
voice.
Oh my gosh, he was crazy. Such an odd looking dude, kind of balding in the 80s.
Yeah, he didn't look like
but you couldn't hide from his voice.
Yeah, he had not your what you would think heavy metal frontman look. But he definitely had the voice to back it up.
His voice was
so
so
we got
powerful.
the facts here.
The album went on to sell more than 10 million.
Okay, so it did go more than 10. That's crazy.
That's
It doesn't surprise me.
No, I wouldn't have said, like, look, I definitely, that we don't, for our viewers out there, we don't do this with prep. There are 3 random records. Like, on occasion, like for some of our episodes, we kind of
pre-plan, but even when we pre-prep them, other than go, hey, let's talk about these 3. We don't go look up any.
It's not like we're grab them. Yeah, Googling what this info. So I'm kind of surprised because I just remember that you had like Aerosmith and stuff, Dream On and Walk This Way and songs like that were on radio, classic rock radio, right? But when Metal Health and Come On Feel the Noise came, it was on MTV, all that stuff. I mean, that was also kind of the right timing of it all because metal was kind of that over the top, So it played in really well timing-wise with MTV. Because other than that, you were getting, name some of the people that were big on MTV early on.
Duran Duran. They were huge on MTV.
Duran, but they're not metal. There was more pop.
Yeah. You're talking about hard rock or heavy metal
stuff? No,
stuff?
I'm just talking about MTV. When MTV first came out, it was more...
Billy Idol was big on MTV.
White Wedding. Yeah. I mean, the imagery was kind of like there. But when metal, I think, came on and MTV, you had that over-the-top part. So it was... I mean, granted, a lot of it, looking back at it, it's not that good. It's kind of corny.
Bryan Adams was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, but was he on MTV?
Too. He was, because I remember Run to You was a big hit on MTV.
Yeah, but we talked about how, like, really good acts, like one of your favorites, Billy Squier.
Billy Squier.
was not a big MTV guy, so career is pretty much done. in my, I
Yeah,
think-
you had to have that kind of presence.
Yeah.
Def Leppard was happening.
Yeah, Def Leppard was huge.
But these guys played in the US Festival, but they were the ones that really, once again, getting back to what Steve just read and what we were talking about before, with all these other bands that were popular, from your Judas Priest to your Motley Crue to your Def Leppard, that were all kind of metal bands, none of them did that.
Yeah.
None of them went
Did the
top
crossover.
200, number one, whatever, top album, number one, et cetera, et cetera. And it was Come On Feel the Noise and the song Metal Health, which is what was the metal song.
Right.
Even though those were kind of poppy songs,
Yeah, they're
they
good
still had that
songwriting.
heavy metal thing. So here's your Rudy Sarzo, Frankie Banali, Carlos Cavazo, and then Kevin Dubrow.
Yep.
And that was Quiet Riot. And then they were, and I actually saw these guys opening up for the Scorpions on this tour. And Scorpions were on their Blackout tour, which is interesting to think about. Scorpions were huge.
Right.
They had some pretty solid MTV play by the time Blackout came out.
Yeah,
No One Like
yeah.
You.
Yeah, No
got
One Like
played
You got a
bunch.
lot.
So yeah, there was a few hits.
That still
But-
pictures in there. That
so
was kind of
this
a
this
crazy
album.
video.
So we had Metal Health, Come On Feel the Noise, and I tell you what, Don't Want to Let You Go. I don't know.
I couldn't
Never
even tell
listened
you
to
what
it.
that song
Slick Black Cadillac.
That was a good song.
for sure. I loved that tune.
Yeah.
Great song. Love's a Bitch. I don't know. And then the whole second side: Breathless, Run for Cover, Battle Axe, Let's Get Crazy, Thunderbird. No
I
idea.
want to say Battle Axe is like a guitar solo.
Is that right?
Kind of like
Man, I wouldn't know.
Cathedral or something like that from Eddie Van Halen.
Carlos is a great guitar player. Oh, he's playing with somebody else now too, and I can't think who it
even know.
is. He is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing with another band, and I'll think of it in a minute. And then they were on an album label called Pasha, which was kind of interesting. I don't even know that.
Yeah, they made Pasha right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Made a whole
10
bunch
million
of people.
albums.
sold
Pasha's
10
like,
million.
woo!
Yeah, exactly.
Cash, that was a good investment.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like Casablanca with Kiss.
Right.
They had the one band that just paid all the bills for everybody, and then that was it. So anyway, but this was
The golden goose.
yeah,
right there.
that's right. So Quiet Riot, man, they were. It was this whole thing, and then their next album came out, and it was just they actually tried to. They took another. Yeah, let me look at this again. So
Yeah.
it was written by Come On Feel the Noise and Holder, Jay Lee. They were not. Wasn't their band. This, and like I said, that was. I'm pretty sure it was Slade. And then on their second album, they put out another song called "Mama, We're All Crazy Now." Also written by Slade, as far as I remember, hoping to recreate "Come
That
On Feel the
kind of-
Noise." Didn't
No.
work.
I mean, this
and
is
then
it.
man, they were gone
They were
after
out,
this
yeah.
album. They were gone.
How do you again? And we talk about that. Sometimes you have a hit come out of nowhere, and an album 10 million. Look, the magic is that you were at the right place at the right
Yeah.
time with the right song and the right.
and you didn't have, like so many of these other bands. What's unfortunate when a band gets so big so fast is they don't have the foundation.
Right.
They
That's
don't
what I-
have
that's
that fan base that's been following along all these years, where you look at a lot of these other groups that have been around and that finally break. They
have
have
a
those
following.
people that are out there that have been the diehards, and they'll lose a few when they get super popular, but they
I
just
knew them when.
Yeah, exactly. But
Right?
then they have this group of people that just is behind them.
Yeah,
And
I think because I'm looking at the album cover here, and I remember like "Come On Feel the Noise" or what Metal Health, like they use this imagery in their videos,
In a video.
right?
yeah.
Guy, because you got the straight jacket. It is kind of a.
They
cool
actually had
thing.
the same guy or same image on the next album, and it was called Condition Critical. Now I remember
okay.
what it was called. And it was another one similar where it was the same dude and like on a stretcher or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at. I mean, obviously, Metal Health is kind of is a play on words, right? As mental health.
Yeah.
Right. Straight jacket, not white. You got the band on the buttons, which I thought's. I never really noticed that, probably because I haven't seen this album cover in 30 years.
Because you bought tapes
I did buy
and you'd
tapes.
never see it.
You know,
Too small.
too small. Hold on, what is that? Break out the, the magnifying glass. But it
I
is pretty
forgot
cool.
about that they were on there, yeah.
But I think also on the back, just to kind of touch on that, those are pretty crisp.
Those are great shots.
Great shots. Great
They're
headshots.
great pictures.
Which I think we talk about band connecting and knowing who the band members are. I mean, when the guys are like some of the band shots that we have, you couldn't even tell who the people are because they're so far away. But these are like legit, looks like Hollywood, I'm ready to go for an audition headshot.
Yep.
I mean, they're crisp, clean. Granted, they're black and white, but they look good.
Looks cool.
Yep, cool stuff.
And getting back to this, Frank Benali was the one kind of carrying on the Quiet Riot name all these years.
That's right.
And then he just died just over a year ago.
Yeah,
he had pancreatic cancer.
Yeah, he had some sort of cancer.
They announced, I think, in 2019 that he was stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and then lasted about a year and a half after he announced it, and then that was it. So
no, sad to see that some of these rockers. I mean, live fast, die young. Sometimes the case. But
you watch interviews with him. He's a really sweet guy. He was a cool dude, man. A lot of these. I mean, actually, I've seen some stuff with Carlos. I wish I could remember the band he's with now. Somebody's gonna put it in the
chime
notes.
in if you know what bands Carlos is in now.
And then Rudy's been all over the place.
He's played
cool.
with amazing.
And he's the one that did the upside down bass.
Yeah.
He'd pick it up and he'd boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom. He'd play it up. Yeah, it was kind of interesting.
No, Rudy is a cool showman.
Yeah.
And I've always liked him. And
he's
dude,
cool.
And if you've seen interviews with Rudy Sarzo, he's just a cool.
Yeah.
He's
where's he from? Because he has a thick accent too.
I want to say Cuban.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think his family immigrated from Cuba or something like pre-Castro.
Interesting.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah, it's something like that. If anybody knows that, you can
for sure.
come in. So, yeah, and speaking of if you like what we're talking about, subscribe. We certainly appreciate that when you guys do that. I think we have some cool stuff. And feel free to correct us. We certainly do not. Like I said, I haven't seen that album cover in 30 years, so I just and then you start thinking, and it kind of triggers. Isn't that weird how the mind works? Is that you see something, and then I couldn't have told you that imagery in the straitjacket was part of the videos.
That's right.
I haven't seen a Quiet Riot MTV video in definitely 30 plus years for sure.
Oh heck yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's not on my thing. So what do we got next? Whoa!
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Duran Duran.
All right.
Rio. This was
this their debut? No.
I don't know. I
don't know that much about Duran Duran, but I know.
Well, this is the one that had. Wait a second.
Had the song Rio.
This has Hungry Like the Wolf. This was their first album.
This was their debut.
Because when that song came out, that music video was being played constantly.
All the time.
And you know what? The music video was cool, and the song was amazing.
That's the one
it
where he's
deserved
running through the jungle?
Yes. And it has the woman that, the whole like orgasmic sounds. I mean, it's that song and that video nailed it.
Yes.
Nailed it.
I'm going to say Duran Duran
Man.
wasn't like something I would go out and buy. But at the same time, they were a band.
They were a legit band.
Also kind of like this fashion / sex appeal. Not as a band, but they always were like surrounded. Because if the Rio video, Rio, you were talking about Hungry Like the Wolf is the one through the jungle. The Rio one is where they're on the ship or the sailing ship. Like
I don't remember. Oh, maybe
freaking
maybe I do
like
remember that.
Monaco or something out in the Mediterranean. Like,
is that right? Is that her? Is that the one that was?
But they got all the camera and looks like they're hanging out with fashion models. That's what I remember. Like
they had a video like that. I just can't remember if that was the song, but I know what you're talking about. Well, so the reason I loved these guys,
again, the visual guy. That's what I remember.
Yeah, I get it. I loved so you can't help but like Hungry Like the Wolf. It's a great song. It's a great song. It's catchy as heck. It's produced perfectly. It's great. And guess what? Andy Taylor, the guitar player for that band, was a great songwriter, a great singer, in my opinion, and a great guitar player. Very unique sound. And and Andy Taylor had a solo album called Thunder that I loved every track on that album. I loved Andy Taylor. And John Taylor, who was the bass player.
Are they brothers?
Was a cool, no, I don't think so.
Just
was
Taylor.
A cool, I think they had 3 guys with the last name Taylor in the band, and none of them were related. John Taylor was this super handsome,
Yeah, he's
Killer.
got a cool look.
Great look. So I couldn't help but like him because I was into kind of really cool looking guys for I don't know why was I? It just was.
Why
I
do you
loved that. I loved the imagery.
No, you get
And so
okay. So I mean that.
but hang on.
I know you're not saying.
But those two guys formed Power Station.
Yes.
So see that I love Power Station with Robert Palmer,
That was
which brought me
awesome.
back to Duran Duran.
Yes.
Because then I'm into Andy Taylor. I'm like, man, I love Andy Taylor, and he's in Duran Duran. John Taylor, both of them went and formed Power Station. They're all Duran. So
With
I got
Robert Palmer
Yes.
and the drummer from
Black Sheep. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But I got so I kind of started to really dig Duran Duran because of these other little pieces. So this is a great album. You have Hungry Like the Wolf, which is just phenomenal.
Great song.
Rio, which is a great tune. And what's sad part is, I don't know that I remember anything else on here. But those two songs.
That carries
so
you right
great.
there.
Hungry Like the Wolf, Hold Back the Rain, I don't know, My Own Way, Lonely in Your Nightmare, New Religion.
Couldn't tell you any of those.
Last Chance on the Stairway, Save a Prayer. Save a Prayer.
Save a Prayer is like a slow one, I
I
think.
seem to remember that one, and The Chauffeur. So I don't know. But I loved these guys.
But-
and that song, those two songs, they're great. And then they went on after this and kept putting out good tunes.
Great stuff. I mean, they have a best of even like. you
No,
know,
when they came
Really?
out in the oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So
What was the thing we were
this
looking
their
for?
debut album?
This is not their debut.
They're not their debut album.
This is the first time anybody ever heard of them.
Right.
Their
But-
first album was actually self-titled.
Oh.
This was their second album.
Huh.
And actually, they just released an album October 22nd, 2021.
Dang. So when would it?
Fast. So they're still kicking.
Oh, I don't know. Well, yeah. I mean, they. You know what the thing is you mentioned you like John Taylor.
Undone.
Undone.
I'm
is
just
one.
thinking that this is late, like 10 years later. They kind of had a comeback, and they had two songs. One was called Undone, and one was called Ordinary World. Like they didn't miss a beat. That album,
are
the
so
rest of the album
good.
sucks, but those two songs, similar to this, two crazy awesome songs. Do you remember that they
Ordinary
had
World is great.
Ordinary World and Undone? Who do you love? Who do you love
Okay.
when you come undone?
Yes.
Who do you love? Great song. And Ordinary World. In the ordinary world,
And it's kind of a
I will
slower
learn
one.
to survive.
They had a
Oh my
song
gosh,
on.
it was
I
so
think they
good.
had
It was so good, man. I love these guys.
They had a song on James Bond.
Oh,
James Bond
yes.
thing. Looks to what's that good? Look to a kill. is
Something
that right?
to something to a kill. Yes.
Right. I mean, they had Duran Duran had that. Duran Duran
A View
had
to a Kill.
View to a Kill. I think that's right.
That's what it was.
That was a great
Anyway,
song.
Simon Le Bon was a great singer.
He
Good
has
frontman.
great-
Good looking dude.
Yeah.
Then you had
That's what I'm talking about. That
they had that image, that fashion.
They have that fashion image. The keyboard player never looked the same.
Nick
from,
Rhodes, I think, is his
yes,
name.
good call. That's true.
That's weird. I probably could name all the guys in the band except
And here you're-
the drummer. I don't think I know his name.
I don't think they had the same drummer 2 albums.
But I
in a
think his
row.
last name was Taylor.
Probably.
I'm serious. Let me look. Okay, I'm gonna look.
All right. But I'm just saying that's what makes Duran Duran kind of cool is that they did have
Roger
that-
Taylor.
Woo.
They had
Nice call.
3 Taylors.
None
Simon
related.
Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, John Taylor, that's guitarist, Roger Taylor, Andy Taylor. Okay, I gotta put my glasses on so you can see, I can see who they are. So you can point to them. So, oh my gosh, with their hair so short, I can't even
Yeah.
tell which one's
I know
which. So
Simon Le Bon.
Dude.
Couldn't even tell you. I want to say
Upside down.
John Taylor.
That's, I think, Andy Taylor. That's Nick Rhodes. That's got to be Andy Taylor, which means that's the other Taylor, Roger. Anyway, but yes, look at their clothes.
Yeah.
This is.
Pre-Miami
I
Vice,
was just
bro.
gonna say this is like Miami Vice kind of stuff.
But I mean, they.
1981.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that these guys are fashion forward
Yeah.
and trendy.
A little.
Not
Yeah.
not too like edgy Depeche Mode, Erasure, Eurythmics that were out at the same time. They were more mainstream. Like these guys could be on a runway. You'd be like, oh, they're models.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And I think that's what you're...
Especially Simon Le Bon.
I mean, yeah, exactly.
And
John Taylor.
it's an interesting-
I mean, all those guys.
Cover too.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're thinking,
yeah.
right? Like, these guys all are well put together, and they're packaged in a way that they are a band.
Which means
and
girls
they
are
have
going
the
to
good
love them.
song. For sure. How many girls do you know in high school had a Duran Duran t-shirt?
Oh, they were huge, man.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean that was the thing about them.
It's a cool sleeve. It's a cool, whatever.
The centerpiece?
Yeah, it's pretty neat, isn't it? I like it.
Cool. But the Rio, that's such a great song. And the bass line on that, the bass line on that song is all over the place. So it's not like these guys didn't have chops.
Unsung, actually good musicians that really knew what they were doing.
That cover,
It's a pretty cool cover.
that's a Nagel painting, which if you were in the 80s, office had a Nagel painting. Any office, anything trendy in the 80s, Miami Vice-ish, had one of these gal paintings that were trendy back in those days.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, I remember, say in the 90s, I think I got a t-shirt that just had like a Nagel gal drawing picture on it. I got commented all the time, like, ooh, that's pretty cool, you know? Because it's a throwback. I'd hang a Nagel painting up in these, you know, at my place. Probably
It is
dated,
retro cool.
but it is retro cool now. Again, it goes back to Duran Duran was fashion forward, and that was, I think, one of those things that kind of, again, the timing of MTV, fashion forward, cool band.
They were perfect for MTV.
Yeah.
They were just these 5 really good-looking dudes with this great music.
Very
you put
visual.
a bunch of beautiful women in there with you, and it's like, you win.
Yeah.
There you go. You got it. Nailed it.
I got 2 songs out of 10 that were hits. I'm good.
Yeah.
Going all the way to the bank. Let's do this again.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, think about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they were awesome.
You know, they did a remake. If you haven't seen this, like, you've heard the songs that the white lines, right? That doo-doo, doo-doo. Everybody knows that, right? It's a huge kind of rap
for dancing. And
for dancing. That bass line. They do a cover of that, and there's a video to it.
Oh, Duran Duran.
Yeah.
I know. I remember seeing that.
And it's kind of really cool done because it's like, you know, we're at the Thick and Mystic Studios, and there's a white wall back here.
Yeah.
And they have that one, just the way the camera is, because they're all like black and white, and the behind the scene is a big white. They're just, everything's white except them in black. And I thought that was like the coolest video to a super damn cool song. That Duran Duran White Lines remake. That's a great video.
I gotta check that out.
Just saying. Duran Duran, that's a great pick.
Yeah.
Great pick.
Yeah. And while we're at it, don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments. If you like any of these albums or remember any of them, put your notes down there because we love reading that stuff.
If you had a Duran Duran
part of the
t-shirt,
conversation.
right?
Yes.
Did you have a Duran Duran t-shirt? Our one woman follower, please comment. You know, hopefully we have more than one. Hopefully we have a lot of fun. We appreciate everybody, and I'm just going to go out there and say, everybody that has subscribed to us, you know, we thank you for checking us out. Tell your friends if you think we're funny, cool, not so funny, dorks, whatever.
Yep.
We're good. We're just having fun, really.
This is exactly. So
what do we got?
Okay, this one's going to be fun for me.
So I'm being careful with this one because the back has a nice surprise.
Yeah. This is fun for me because this is Dokken. Everybody that works here at the studio hears me say "rockin' with Dokken" all the time, and they and most of them would be like, "What the heck are you saying?" And
so
then
what?
I'm like, well,
so
it's a
tell
band.
us, those that don't know that are watching, what is the meaning "rockin' with Dokken"?
Well, Dokken was a
like
band.
The marketing.
Yeah, and Dokken was a band. The singer, his name's Don Dokken, and
Named the band after
so
him.
they kind of had this thing, "rockin' with Dokken," and that was it was just a phrase. And somehow 40 years ago, I picked it up. And I say it all the time, just because, dude, that's rocking with Dokken. And everybody goes, what the heck? Especially because I'm older than everybody, and everybody's forgotten this band a long time ago.
You know what?
So I love them.
love Dokken.
I loved these guys.
Dokken is
man.
one of those bands. They're my Billy Squiire, right? Right. I know you love Billy Squiire.
I love Billy Squiire,
but
man.
I
Totally
do
Billy
love
Squiire.
Dokken, and I actually had a. Yeah, it's just I have a couple good friends that were also big Dokken fans. Mike Vogel, I know you're watching, probably not, but if you are now, I'm going to tell you to watch it because Dokken was his favorite band, and we were in Connecticut, and he was like, "You like Dokken?" You know, that's all we talked about. And but Tooth and Nail, This is great.
So this was, I think, their second
great.
album. The
Second.
first album, Breaking the
Breaking the
Chains.
Chains.
Listening to that now sounds very high school. Like they were just figuring it out. The song Breaking the Chains is a little silly, but man, did they grow up fast, because this album, still I listen to this because this is the one that has Alone Again, which is a beautiful tune.
Awesome song.
It's a great song, man. And this album, it's great start to finish. Everything on here is good.
Everything's Dokken sings awesome. He's a great vocalist.
Yes, back when he was doing this stuff, he was amazing.
He was amazing at this time, and this is, remember, he was the one that
unique voice.
Yeah, he has a really, it's full yet high. You know, he can pull. He had a great range.
It's not gritty, growly. He sings.
Right. He's a singer. Yeah, he's a singer. He's not a screamer. He's a singer.
It's beautiful singing. Yeah,
great tonality. I think that's the other thing that kind of made him stand out. His voice sounds good, which is why he laid down the tracks for Scorpions Breakout.
For Blackout, yeah.
Your Blackouts, I say Breakout. Don's a great vocalist. The band's good. Jeff Pilson on bass,
Mick Brown on drums.
And Jeff Pilson's a great singer.
Oh, he is.
He's a great singer. A great compliment. Kind of like the Michael Anthony to David Lee Roth. I think he's a good compliment to Don Dokken. And there's no doubt George Lynch is amazing.
One of the great guitar players ever.
Ever. You know, the way he goes from here and the next album and just progresses. He's just
Under Lock and Key, I think.
Under Lock and Key, and then one of my favorites of all time is the one after that, which came out while we were in college, was the Back for the Attack.
I think that's right. I never got that one. Under Lock and Key is one of my favorites. I think was even better than this one, which was it was great. I never got that one, though.
I mean, they're all great. It's just strong songwriting, and George Lynch's playing is simple yet shreddy yet tasteful. It's it's got the right combo, because guys can shred. We talked about that in one. You get on YouTube and shred, but he is a great player, and this is awesome.
He's kind of like the non-Vinnie Vincent. I have to bring him up.
That's great. He is,
because Vinnie Vincent is play as fast as you can, get as many notes in as you can, and just keep going. Where George Lynch is, he plays these melodic things in his solos, and then he shreds for a second, and then he comes back, and it's beautiful what he does.
Yeah, it's beautiful what he does. It's simple,
music.
But it plays great, and
he's a good-looking dude. See, that's the thing I was saying about earlier. I would note I loved the imagery of some of these performers, because especially a lot of these dudes were really cool-looking guys, and he was a good-looking.
Let's look at George
good-looking
Lynch,
dude.
This is where he had the
two-tone hair.
Two-tone hair.
Yeah.
He always tan. That's one thing I liked about George Lynch. He was always
George
tan.
Lynch, Don Dokken, Mick Brown, Jeff Pilson.
Yep.
Did I get that? Yeah, I got that right.
And Pilson's doing stuff. I think he's touring with Foreigner and things now. But George Lynch, man, he is awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, because he makes simple things just sound fantastic. And again, I like the Vinnie Vincent, the anti-Vinnie Vincent, because he plays just enough. Mm-hmm. And it fits. Where Vinny's just on schizophrenia or whatever is
just
going
go crazy.
on. Yeah, just go crazy. So I see that there's...
Yeah, before we talk about the tracks, you'll notice there's some writing on there. Because in 2011, I was living in Denver, and they played at this place. I think it was called the Grizzly Rose, I think.
Nice.
Anyway,
Grizzly Rose.
Yeah. So Don Dokken and Mick Brown are still together in this band, although George and Jeff were not.
They kind of get the original foursome together on and off. I mean, it's kind of
so they can get mad at each other and then leave.
Some sort of. But now it's one.
So anyway, so I went outside afterwards. I mean, there weren't all that many people there, to be honest.
One of the 50. What do you say? 100?
Well, it was more than that. I mean, there was probably. I don't think we got that high. I'd say 400 to 500 people.
They're a niche band.
Probably.
I mean, you either
they were popular. I mean, they had a bunch of hits. Alone Again was huge. And In My Dreams was really, really big. That was on the next album, I think, wasn't it? In my dreams, it's still the same. Love is strong and still remains. So anyway, I took this with me because I thought there's a good chance. There's not that many people. There's a good chance I'll see him and I can get him to sign it. So Don came out and Mick, and I was like, I met him. I was like, I mean, I don't know. What do you say?
Very cool.
Yeah,
Good
I mean,
voice.
it's so funny because I've met a lot of celebrities in my life. Matter of fact, last week I was out shooting a TV commercial with John Elway.
I know. I saw that on your Facebook.
But it's
That
one of
was
those
pretty
things
cool.
because when you meet celebrities like that, what you don't want to do is act like a dork.
Like, yeah, you're just kissing their ass.
Yeah, where you're like, remember that one thing? I just don't want to ever be that person.
Yeah.
So
I think they appreciate when people are just like, I'm just another human being. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and like last week when I was with Elway, I mean, I actually didn't even know who's going to be in that spot till like the day before. I'm looking at the talent list and I'm like, am I going to John Elway?
That's cool.
So yeah, so I fly in to do that commercial and I didn't know if I'd even see him.
And you did.
And so we end up being actually in a scene together and you know, while they're resetting cameras, I'm just standing right next to the guy and I go, so you have kids, or you had some kids, right? I remember. And he's like, yeah. And I said, are they? And so we start talking about his kids and like to your point, the last thing I want to talk to him about is football. Yeah. You know, and go.
I'm a Broncos fan,
exactly,
man.
dude. I'm your biggest fan. I never want to be that guy.
I went to Stanford.
So so we had this nice conversation about his kids. Yeah, exactly. And maybe they do. I don't know.
Drafted by the Yankees.
But it was kind of cool because I also don't want to be the guy that takes selfies. But my brother-in-law is this humongous Bronco fan, and so is my mom. And so I thought,
you got to.
So I'm standing there with them. I'm like going, you know what? And so
Did you ask?
I bust. Yeah. So
Hey,
I
is that
bust
all right?
out the camera. I say, hey, Mr. Elway, I know you're dying to take a selfie with me, and they're changing cameras, so we should probably do it right now. And it was kind of so. Anyway, he's like, sure. And so we took a picture together. It's on my Facebook page. But anyway,
cool.
same thing. You know, I don't want to be a total whatever, but I'm like, hey, man. You know, you show up and especially when they've kind of, you know, they're kind of on this way.
Yeah, they're definitely
then
on the down.
they kind of I think they actually enjoy the attention when they get it probably.
Well,
anyway, so
cool.
track list. Let's look at the tracks.
Before we look at the tracks, you mentioned In My Dreams.
Yeah.
Do you know that there was like the songwriting, and let's go back to George and Don. The songwriting on Dokken, be it what it is, it's rockin' awesome stuff. But In My Dreams was actually done, like a remake was done by some like Disney pop band.
Really?
Dude, it's like teenagers, like it's almost like Mickey Mouse Club. They did like a dance version of In My Dreams.
Turn all night in the sheets. I can't say. I remember the harmony. I'm trying to remember the rest of it. If that would be.
Yeah, I'm
turning away my dreams.
I'm
what can I
telling
say or do? Like it's true.
I'm pretty sure that's the song.
Interesting. Could be. Well, it would make sense because it was a huge hit, and they had that harmony. In my dreams, it's still
it's a cappella in the beginning, right?
Strong, it's still but they've got this like 4-part harmony going on in it too.
Pretty cool.
It is a pretty cool tune.
All right, if I see it, I'll.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm curious about that now.
It's actually pretty cool because it's like a dance pop version. Sorry, that's one of the weird things that I brought up, that I'm bringing up, I guess.
Okay, I could sing every one of these songs.
They're awesome.
So, Without Warning is actually just an instrumental thing leading into the song Tooth and Nail.
Tooth and Nail, which is great, super
Straight
fast.
to the top.
Dude, that scream at the very end, right?
Just got lucky.
That's a great
I believe
song.
your deadly lies. Just got lucky. Heart. She's got a heartless heart.
Yeah.
Don't close your eyes. When Heaven Comes Down. When Heaven Comes Down was such a good tune, man.
Dude, the opening riff on that.
Heaven Comes Down.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's like.
Into the fire. Into the fire. I'm falling again.
Yep.
Bullets to Spare.
Which
it would take me a minute and I can get that one.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then Alone Again.
Bullets.
Bullets to Spare. Yes. There you go. Alone Again was a great tune.
Song.
I'd like to see you in the morning light. That's a great tune, man. And then Turn on the Action.
Turn on the action. Dun, turn on the night. Or something like that. Okay. But it's like the last song of the album.
Once again, if you put it on right now, I could totally sing along. I played this album so many times.
This is not like
crazy.
One of the ones that
Jeff Workman recorded this.
Huh.
That is interesting.
No, great set of songs. Again, not their debut.
1984.
But I again, a lot of really, really good songs. Like
Inside cover. There's the whatever this is. the nail of the Tooth and Nail.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
Then, again, we talk about imagery and things making sense. what does that mean? Like the hand coming
I know. I always
out,
wonder because it's called
coming
Tooth and
out.
Nail, and all I see is nails I see his claws.
Yeah.
It's not even nails.
Again, marketing team. Missed
Come
the
on.
mark. Come on. You know.
What are you doing? Then it looks like we just have lyrics.
Lyrics
on the inside
and
here, and then the four headshots of the four
Not
guys.
as good a headshots as Quiet
Not
Riot.
quite as good as Quiet Riot. Probably lower budget. Although I don't know, because Quiet Riot, that was their debut. I don't know what kind of budget they had.
No, it wasn't their debut.
Well, sorry, that was their
Debut
debut on a like
big
where they were
label.
actually getting
Yeah, paid
something behind them. Because I think the first 3 Quiet Riot albums were just kind of. I think they were all they had to be self-released.
self-produced with Randy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Anyway, but
So
yeah, they
not-
probably
not
had
big
a budget.
Not big budget stuff. 1984.
God, they look like kids, man. It's crazy.
Right?
Crazy look like kids.
No, Dokken's one of those bands that I think they're catchy, and I think that's why we can sing along with them. The songwriting is great.
It's good songwriting. It's catchy stuff, for sure.
Really good stuff. If you haven't listened to Dokken, rocking with Dokken.
You got to start rocking with Dokken.
Gotta
That's all I
start
can
rocking
say.
with Dokken. All right,
Yeah,
there we
so,
go.
anyway.
But no, that's good stuff.
What's that?
That just needs to be your catchphrase now.
Rocking with
Rocking with
Dokken.
Dokken. Rocking with Dokken. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard you say that. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Steve, you work here. You're witnessing
How
what-
much I say that phrase.
right?
And they also another cool thing that we can, yeah,
rubbing
it
off.
rubs off on people. And the other thing that we can say about this cover, because not all bands had this, is they did have a logo.
Yeah, that is
That
true. Good point.
Dokken from their first album, they had that.
All the way through. Yeah, because I'm
That's-
thinking
that's their look.
the one after this, Under Lock and Key, had this in the upper corner.
They actually
yellow.
had it, I think, even behind them, like sideways somehow.
Oh yeah, some sort of like yeah.
They did something with the shapes of the logo. But anyway, they did have
Yeah.
their, at least the marketing team got that straight.
Nice.
We
They
got
got
you
a
guys
logo.
a logo.
That's usable
To go
it's
with
not
the
just
band.
one and done. 'Cause
Yep.
we talked about how Judas Priest changed theirs over the years.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking of the back for the Attack one has got that kind of like that Japanese imagery, and over the top it's all blue.
But it still has the
It still has
the
the logo
Dokken
in
logo.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great stuff. I'll be listening to Dokken on my way home.
I
probably.
loved these guys, man.
Yeah, and
They
and
were
it is
great.
one of these that's people have their go-to bands. For me, if this is one of those, they're definitely, like I mentioned before, you have Billy Squier, Dokken for sure. Maybe Dokken is on there, but yeah, it's okay. I like it.
That's great. It's good
Dokken
stuff.
is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Good stuff. Good pick.
yeah, for sure. And he does, his voice is mostly non-existent these days, unfortunately. Don.
I mean, I think
he struggles.
The one thing
But
is, I did see, going back, I did see George Lynch. Which if you like George Lynch, you like Dokken, Lynch Mob. When he did the first Lynch Mob album, that was great.
I got that wicked sensation. That guy's voice was so
Yeah,
cool. man. I
Oni
love that
Logan.
guy. Oh my gosh, he was
And
good.
he ended up going back. They did another one,
good.
Smoke and Mirrors, where they teamed back up on
Yeah.
Lynch Mob. It was really good. That came out mid-2020.
Dude, I love that guy's
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah, that's
it
a
was
great
so
voice.
good.
Oni Logan.
It was so huge, and he had this kind of
Yeah.
quiet growl to it too,
Yeah.
like the great. Oh my gosh, that guy was good.
like a bluesy
So
singer
good. I
growl.
love listening to that guy's voice.
That guy's great. That's a great album. And I know I'm just but I saw George Lynch play at this little tiny club in Boise.
Really?
And he had this guy. I know we bust on Vince Neil a lot, but this guy looked like a young Vince Neil, but kind of like a modern Vince Neil because he was kind of portly, and I don't think he was more than 5'4", but he sang awesome. And I mean, it was weird.
I've said this before that a lot of times if you find the ugliest looking guy in the band, there's a good chance that's a singer because he's that good that they hold on to this guy. It's not always true.
No,
But a
but-
lot of times you find that weird looking, the guy like, what would this guy doesn't look like? Well, it's because he's got a killer voice.
Udo
So-
Dirkschneider, what's he doing front of the band? You're going,
Yeah.
this guy's weird. But no, this guy was
Udo.
about as tall as Udo, but he had the Vince Neil blonde, long locks. He had the Vince Neil looks, but he sang great. And George Lynch he was just kind of there. It was just this little club. I don't think 50 people were in there.
Wow.
It
That
was
would be so
It was
awesome.
awesome. It was awesome.
That would be
and then
awesome.
later on, when they were done, he was just signing stuff. And I want to say he was traveling with like his family, like his wife and 2 daughters were doing this little booth, and it was at the Blues Bouquet, downtown Boise. and
How cool, man.
It was really,
I love
really
that.
cool. Even the location, that place was open and closed. My wife we were talking about it not too long ago. It's just this bar that's been around for like 100 years, and the wood and the thing. It was just a really cool setting, and that was one of the first times it was like open and had a really cool show because they were trying to promote it as like an venue, and George Lynch is showing up. I'm like, damn, I'm going.
That's cool, man.
And I don't
would
think he
totally
even
be
play
there.
that
Love
much. But
guy.
anyway, love George Lynch, love Dokken. Anyway, those are two side things.
Yeah.
Just bringing up. Anyway,
That's cool.
they're
Which
just
camera's on right
showing
now?
my
Yeah.
Dokken fanness, George Lynch fan.
They both rolling?
Yeah,
Okay. Hey, thanks for watching.
we
Through
do
Random
appreciate
Records.
It, yeah,
We appreciate it. Like we said earlier, please subscribe, like the video, comment on this stuff if you're familiar with any of this music and you like it, and if you're crazy enough to know some of this information too.
if you're rocking
Actually-
with Dokken,
Yeah, if you're rocking with Dokken. I actually learned some things from some of the commentary that gets put in.
Yeah,
There was
we-
some from
yeah.
last week that came up and I thought, dude, I had no idea that was the
But that's
case.
great. I mean, again, we don't prepare for these. We talk about that. We're drawing on really old memories.
Yeah.
It's really cool. So when we do get it wrong, there's people
Yeah, for
out
sure.
there that know it or know the story better. I couldn't remember, what was that one dude from that I was talking about? Remember when I was saying David Lee Roth? And I
Oh,
couldn't
yeah, the
remember.
band that he-
The band was coming, and that was the Black Oak, Arkansas.
Oh, Black Oak, Arkansas.
Yeah,
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
I seem to
Arkansas.
remember that.
Yeah, but the lead singer is the guy that inspired
him.
David Lee Roth, which is, if you look that guy up now, he's still performing, but does not look
Interesting.
Yeah. He's more on the Vince Neil train.
Nice.
Just saying.
That's
anyway,
hilarious, man.
love you, Vince Neil, but yeah, we love busting on you too. Anyway, so thanks so
Thanks
much
for watching.
We appreciate
And
you.
we'll,
Subscribe.
Yes, we'll talk to you later. Thanks.